L42VK04U. It just rolls off the tongue, doesn't it? Just rolls off the tongue. It's quite an old TV, 2005. No, that's wrong. It's May 2012. That makes more sense. I remember these TVs being unique, as in they had a breakthrough price. This was the first LCD TV. Look at, I mean, we are talking about 12 years ago. You probably can't remember the price of TVs when they first came out, the flat screens, but they were really expensive. This was the first one to drop under £1,000. £995 would buy you this in 2012. May 2012, if you need to be precise. And people still use them because they are, and they were, great TVs. In fact, Vince, that's got the repair channel, My Mate Vince, uses this on a daily basis, this particular model. And they only suffered with one thing, and that's bad caps on the power supply. But if you didn't get to them in time, and somebody tell Vince that if you don't check them, and I bet you the one that Vince has got bad caps brewing on the power supply. If you let the bad caps get worse, they can take out your EEPROM on the main board. So then you've got to go looking for capacitors, then you've got to find the main board. So you've got to get to them as quick as you can. But somebody in my local village has got one of these as their main TV. They've had it since, obviously, 2012. But yesterday, it didn't switch on. It is stuck in standby. There's a chance now it's going to come on, so let's plug it in and see what it does. But we'll take the back off it anyway and have a look at the caps. I'll turn some lights off just so you can see. Right, I'm switching it on now. And it does the usual. And then I think it just stops in standby. I did ask her to press the buttons. This could just be a remote control that's faulty, because I said you've got some buttons on the front, touch sensitive buttons, and they are here. And they will make a beeping noise. And they do. But it doesn't bring it on. That's the one. So the biggest culprit on this used to be, it's on the 5-volt side, which is obviously the standby side. And there was a capacitor, it was a 16-volt capacitor, I think it was 2,700 microfarad. How I remember those things, I don't know. And I bet you that's gone, and there's probably a few others gone as well. But let's take the back off and have a look, and stick some new caps in, and see if we've got to it before it's destroyed the EEPROM. I hope we have, because it's a nice TV. There is a screw missing. Doesn't happen very often to me that I repair TVs that somebody else has been into. Now, the fact that it's a local TV, you would think that maybe the culprit is me, but the customer didn't know where I lived, so I don't think it could have been me. Who knows? Could have been a long time ago. But it looks like this has been repaired before. And no, not one bulged cap. Could still be a cap issue. Gonna have to play. I think the first thing I'm going to do is heat up some of the caps and see if they come on. Usual culprit is that one, but that one's been changed. But I'm just going to give it a little bit of heat around here. Ah, it's come on. You haven't noticed, but the TV has come on. So it's going to be one of those 3 caps. Let's just test them. Bloody hell. That didn't want to come out. Perfect ESR, maybe a little bit high on the microfarads. Yeah, perfect ESR, maybe a little bit high on the microfarads, but that's okay. Nothing wrong with that one. Let's try the next one. If I had to guess, I would guess it is this one that's going to be the problematic one. This is 2200 at 6.3 volts. Let's test. Well, the ESR is fine on this. What does that say? 2346. Yeah, 2200. So again, and the third and final one of the bunch is a 25 volt 240 microfarads cap. And you can see the result here. Not spot on. Well, some people would say that's intolerance. I'm not so sure. I'm going to replace all 3 because it was around there. I mean, they're a little bit higher in the microfarads than they need to be, but I'm surprised that that'll be keeping the TV in standby, but so I get to work on replacing all 3 caps. And of course, I've got plenty of caps, and I am trying to replace value for value. The only one I haven't got exactly is the 420 microfarad cap, which is 16 volts. I've got one which is 50 volts. Sorry, it's 25 volts, and I've got one which is 50 volts. So I've stuck a 50 volt cap in. It's a bit higher, but most people will say, yeah, it's fine. So let's try it. Right, I've switched the lights off so we can see if it is going to come on first time. There's no reason why this would come on first time. Not even getting a light on it. Well, if you notice, we did get a light on it. The red light came on briefly for a second and then went out. So this is one of those, I'm pleased to say, rare occasions where I've actually made the TV worse. At least we had a standby light before. Now I seem to have lost that. The only thing I can do, the only thing I can check is, well, obviously I've put the caps in the correct way, otherwise it would have gone bang bang by now. So I'm going to go back and look at that cap. Remember, it should be 25 volts, 420 microfarads. But I've put a 50 volt cap in. So, it's, you know, I'm over tolerance on it, but I'd be surprised if that's the only problem. But these boards could be very sensitive with certain things. And as I said earlier, you had to be careful, because if you messed around with the caps or didn't rescue them in time, it caused problems with the EEPROM. And that's probably what I've just done. So quickly I'm going to change that cap. Again, find the correct one. Okay, it was me being pure lazy. I did have an exact cap, so I've stuck that one in. I'll be surprised if it makes any difference, but let's see. Right, I've dimmed the lights, so we're out of focus a bit. But you can see the standby light. Well, flashing red-blue, but that makes no difference. That's what it was doing before, and it was going into standby and not coming out of standby. Get my face straight up. No, we're still in standby. Ah, but that's what it wasn't doing before. Here we go. So, even though the three caps registered okay, they were all a little bit higher than they should be in microfarads, and maybe that was it. I didn't see a bad ESR on any of them. But you've got to be pretty precise. Got to be pretty precise. But anyway, that is fine. I will put it back together. Of course I will. And we will do a snooker test if you insist. I want to test the customer's remote control. It's the Blu-ray disc anymore. Nobody. Okay, sorry, I'm just mumbling to myself here, and I don't think I've really got the microphone attached for some particular reason. Well, there is a particular reason. The reason is I'm a complete amateur. But just testing at the remote control now. Got the customer's remote control. It is the old original one, and of course, there's no battery back on it. I'm sure I've got a back somewhere I can stick on. It's got loads of those remotes, so I could hand it back. I'm just testing for audio to make sure. I always like testing the TV with the snooker. I've got one of these Panasonic Blu-ray recorders. Nobody records to Blu-ray anymore. I thought the Blu-ray recorder was the greatest revolution in recording history. And still do, but I think I'm the only one. I'm also mini disc man. I'm still love my mini disc. But anyway, so I'm just testing this, just making sure it switches off, and it comes back on again, and I've got audio. And of course, it does come back on again. If I put the lights on, you do get a focus. And the audio is there. So just to let you know, obviously I replaced all three caps, but one of the caps, which was the 420 microfarad 25 volt cap, I put a 420 microfarad 50 volt cap. Didn't seem to like it. Didn't even register. I then found an original one with the correct value, stuck that in, and it piped up straight away. This is kind of a lucky repair, because sometimes caps are obvious that they've blown. These wasn't, but because I've seen this fault so many times, I knew it had to be a problem in that area. And of course, after warming that area up with the hot air station, the TV burst straight into life. And I always trust the readings on my little meter reading there that I use for resistors, FETs and capacitors. And even though the ESR was almost perfect on all of them, you will have noticed and you will remember that the microfarads was a little bit high, maybe more than a little bit high, thinking about it. And if all three caps are on the same circuit, I think two are on the same circuit, one's on another circuit, that can make a difference. And obviously it did, but replacing it with the exact cap that was needed, the correct value, brought the TV to life. I'll keep testing it, but these are those TVs, as long as you look after the capacitors, they will be absolutely fine. Oh, incidentally, I want to show you this. Do you know what that is? because obviously this is not an LED TV, this is a CCFL TV, and they are CCFL tubes from a 26-inch, which I've just done a conversion on. Taken out the tubes from a Panasonic 26-inch and put in an LED. This is how fragile they are. They're snapping in my hand. Technically, there's nothing wrong with these tubes. It was the driver board that went faulty. You can't get the driver board for love nor money, and we got fed up of waiting. And the customer, he was a great customer, wonderful chap. It was a sentimental TV. It was his mum's TV, and it was in mint condition for a 15, 18-year-old Panasonic. So we decided to keep it going for him, to keep it out of the landfill. The only thing we could do is do an LED conversion. We did film it, little bits of it, and I will show it to you. It'll be up before the weekend, so watch out for a Panasonic conversion from tube to LED. It took us, well, it's taken a week to do with, 4 hours here, 2 hours there. It's a long job. Don't think that it's a quick job, because it isn't. And I'm still waiting for a part to arrive. Which is why I haven't sent it up to YouTube yet. Anyway, that's why I showed you those CCFL tubes. So that's it. I'll keep this TV on test for a bit and let the customer have it back. It's a nice, cheap, easy fix. And these TVs are still great. And if ever one came in and it had bad backlights, bad CCFLs, I would consider sticking some backlights in these to keep them going. Incidentally, the picture quality does look different when you put LEDs in from a CCFL. The one on the Panasonic looks much better with the LEDs. Maybe that'll come across on the video, maybe it won't, I don't know. So if anybody knows Vince personally, I don't, but I know he uses this TV, tell him to check the caps before it's too late. Otherwise, he may lose a jolly good set. And they are jolly good sets. Thanks for watching. Cheers. Bye.